Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we're going to recap Ty and Kade Bertolo's performance on 1FC. We're going to talk about Sogi Invitational. We're going to talk about Midwest Finishers, Absolute Women's title, and Men's 205-pound title. Talk a little about Toro Cup. Talk a little bit about Subversive, and also talk a little about Nogi Worlds coming up, including some news. Miranda, as always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined by my co-host,
Miranda.
How you doing, Miranda? What am I missing?
Pretty
I missed
good.
something there, I think.
We're just gonna go with it.
We have an absolutely packed and Grapple Fest 14.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Jacob Couch and Owen O'Flanagan, which was a
Yep.
phenomenal card. Big week of grappling.
All kinds of stuff all over the place.
Very, very fun weekend. It was great. We had some promotions at the gym. I'm doing my promotions for my gym tomorrow. Got some guys going to Blue Belt.
that's fun.
So it's been a big the holiday seasons before we get into the jiu-jitsu drought, but right now is definitely not the drought
We're not
season.
really doing drought.
Usually the drought was like Thanksgiving week, and we have kind of an off week.
Well, it also used to be like there was only tournaments during.
Yeah.
There was like tournament season, and then you would go
Yep.
through a period of time where there were no tournaments, and now that doesn't happen.
You're
anymore.
leaving for Nogi Worlds on
Wednesday
Wednesday.
night. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I technically am supposed to go on Thursday.
And you're staying for the black belts too, which would
Yeah.
be cool. So
Oh, yeah.
So you're gonna miss that show, but then you can come back and tell us what it was
Yeah.
like Matt's side. Like Matt's side, it was crazy because it's always crazy, and you're out there. So
I will
I'm looking
definitely
forward to that.
try to update everybody as I run around like a crazy person.
And you have the login for the Instagram. So
I do.
you
I
know,
do.
We will wait.
And I have two of your teammates that I will be coaching. So
Yeah,
it'll
awesome.
be a fun time.
So let's talk about news before we get into anything else. We have the UFC Invitational in 2 weeks, so we're going to preview that on next week's show. We have not only a bracket for that, which looks pretty spicy, we also have Gordon Ryan taking on Vinny Magalhaes in a rematch, and basically one of Gordon's very few remaining black belt.
Is there no time limit?
I don't know what the rule set is. So
Okay.
I struggled here because I spent some time before this week's show looking for the rule set. I don't know for their super fights, especially with Gordon, if anyone was going to have a custom rule set that they kind of wanted or agreed to, it would be Gordon in this match.
Yeah.
Vinny, and Gordon's thanked Vinny a couple of times in their matches, hey, appreciate you giving me the rematch in kind of anticipation of this. And he's been always very complimentary to Vinny. So I'm curious kind of how this goes. Gordon fought, we talked about this matchup. You can actually go find Josh and I in one of the early Grappling Rewind shows talking about this matchup. And back in 2018, this was on ACBJJ. ACBJJ used to run we'll talk about this probably more next week, but used to run rounds. So you had 5-minute rounds, and they were a preliminary fight on that card. And so it was 3 5-minute rounds. Vinny gets some points on Gordon in the first round, and then it's not 2 non-scoring rounds after that where nobody scores points, and Vinny takes that. So that's one of the last losses that Gordon Ryan has. They're going to do it again on the Fight Pass Invitational. Don't know the rules. We'll probably find it out at the event.
Yeah, because I'm trying to look at it right now and I don't see anything.
Yeah, I searched for a while and you're
Yeah.
better at that than I am, but I searched for a while, couldn't find anything. It wouldn't surprise me to have it just be a 20-minute match, a super fight match.
Yeah.
Either
we also-
just decision is
Yeah.
probably how it'll go, because they run decisions and they also run draws on these cards. Neither would surprise me. With Gordon, I would kind of be surprised if he's not able to submit Vinny. And we'll preview this next week, but it is a match that is coming up. So big news. Also on the card, we have Bia Mesquita taking on Misha Tate.
Yeah.
An interesting matchup for sure.
And then there's an absolute $25,000 absolute tournament.
This is fun too. There's some
Yeah.
good names. This is basically 5 or 6 folks from ADCC, and then a couple of guys that are really on the rise recently. We have and we actually have a bracket for once.
Yeah.
Before the day of the event, we have Heisam Rita and Patrick Gaudio on your left side of the
Yeah, but
bracket.
we know
day
that
one.
most of these brackets never actually happen.
We're gonna see who
Yeah.
shows up on the day. Mason Fowler versus Pat Changoli. We're actually talking about Pat Changoli on Sogi this week.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bracket, we have an absolute rematch for
Is
ADCC.
it Pat or is it Dad?
No, it's Pat, not Chris.
It's
It's
okay.
Pat Changoli.
I completely thought it was Chris.
Oh no, it's Pat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pat's in that tournament?
Yeah, he was at the EBI tournament earlier.
I guess
He's in
so.
Emerald City.
I guess so.
Pat's really taking.
Yeah,
up
he is
matches
taking off.
recently. Other side of the bracket, we have an absolute rematch from ADCC. We have Nicky Rod versus Andy Varela. That was pretty definitive for Nicky Rod last time, so I'd be curious to see what Varela brings in. And we also have Richie Martinez versus Oliver Taza.
Did you see the random Instagram post from Varela saying that he was looking for somebody of his size, of
Nicky Rod size?
Nicky Rod size in Vegas to
Really?
prep for it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He was like looking for if he could find like a 230
230-pound, like
yeah.
top pressure heavy wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
in the area to help him prep for
So
him.
speaking of this is kind of a news we'll talk about next week. If you guys are not listening to the Simple Man podcast, which is Ethan Constant, Damian Anderson, Nicky Rodriguez, it's hilarious. I don't push a ton of shows on this show anymore. We used to do it a lot more, but I now have a much longer commute, so I get a chance to listen to more podcasts.
I accidentally came across it one day, and they were I don't even know what they were talking about, like food or something.
They are very
It
good
was
storytellers,
hilarious.
but they also do like talk about jiu-jitsu and the
Yeah.
scene and tournaments, and it was very funny to hear Nicky Rod talk about his own performance on EBI and him like actually doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And he was, felt good, like actually do jiu-jitsu. It's like, I pulled guard, and Eddie Bravo, who's the ref of the match, went, oh shit. and their humor comes through, and you also get an insight into kind of their training situation, into how they prep, into how they've been improving. And it's a very interesting dynamic between those three guys. And I really enjoyed the show. They put out shows kind of somewhat infrequent.
Yeah.
But I've listened to, I think, 4.5 of the shows
Yeah.
right now, and I found them very, very funny. And it does, if you like the show,
Yeah.
it does give you an insight into that camp with those guys.
I think I may have found it through Nicky Rod Eats, which is an Instagram page that Nicky Rod has with just him eating food.
That's awesome. He figured out the Instagram algorithm. So
Yeah.
that is the UFC Invitational. We will preview that in detail with kind of the matchups and discussing. This will be a fun one to preview because we're really familiar with, like, we have a bracket ahead of time, and we're really familiar with all the grapplers in the tournament. So it should be a really good kind of look for that to be most of next week's show. We're going to go really in depth into that one. $25,000 tournament with some super fights as well. Also in this week's news, Miranda, what do we got? Your hand is over the news.
Sorry. We got Noogie World starting on Thursday in Anaheim.
It'll be fun.
The brackets get released tomorrow.
So we have no
with the
brackets for that.
schedule. We have the listing of who is in or who is entered, but we do not have brackets.
Right. As per usual, we're not going to get brackets till
Tomorrow, hopefully.
Which why would you give them to us earlier?
Well, my thing,
No idea.
my gripe about it was until maybe a week ago, they had me going anywhere from Wednesday to Sunday.
Oh yeah, they don't give you a date.
and they
that you're
weren't
gonna go.
and they weren't going to release brackets until Tuesday. And I was like, great, you're going to tell me on Tuesday that I'm going to go Wednesday. That's great. It's fabulous.
Gotta love how professional it is.
So hopefully tomorrow they get released. We'll know what's going on with them, and we'll know who's up. Black belts they begin Saturday. They go from Saturday to Sunday. So we know that much.
Other news, we had a fun, spicy. Was not technically a calf slicer
Stop
submission.
saying spicy.
I love calling things spicy.
I know you do.
So Zach, shout out to Zach of the Grappling Rewind. Big fan of the calf slicer. We're a fan of the calf slicer, but what it's turned into is every time a calf slicer comes up, it makes the news segment. If you saw this weekend on the UFC, you had the names. I had the names earlier, but I didn't write them down because
and I was looking them up before we were going live, and then I forgot to look them up.
So there was a calf slicer in the UFC that was finished by ground and pound after that. We want to talk a little about kind of how that was set up because it was interesting. You didn't see the finish of the calf slicer because if you come up into that calf slicer, you give the opponent an opportunity to roll their hips through. But if you stay in that middle position on the calf slicer, like from the back, like belly up and down.
It is Hermanson versus
Jack Hermanson.
Jack Hermanson.
Yeah.
What?
Give me this.
There.
Jack Hermanson versus Dolzy.
Dolzy.
I think I messed up his last name, but yeah, Hermanson's a gangster. And I think the other guy beats him with the calf slicer, but pounds him out. Really interesting finish. Shout out to Zach, who loves calf slicers. And
Yeah, and
as a
seldom
result,
do you see something like that really.
no, it's pretty rare in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, that as for high level. Like
I was
mixed
just
martial
watching
arts.
his knee the entire time. I'm still watching his knee.
You're just waiting for the knee
It's
to explode.
freaking
We've seen enough knees explode at this point. You just look and you're like, it might happen.
Oh, now the newest thing is like them posting videos of people trying to do buggy chokes
and their legs just exploding. Yeah, you saw that. You saw that too this week.
Oh yeah,
The Marine one.
yeah. I
Yep.
saw the Marine one. It was horrible.
Yeah, femur break. I think the last weekend it was a tibia break. Like it's just weekly. It's a video of someone breaking their leg, doing a choke from the bottom, and it's like,
yeah,
ugh.
because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So let's move on. What do you want to go through? I want to talk about. Actually, no. I'm going to put it on. I want to talk about ONE FC first.
okay, then we go.
So ONE FC. You want to talk about Ty first? Or about Kade first? I think we lead with the title match for this, the lightweight title match.
Okay.
Kade Rotolo versus Mateus Gabriel.
Okay.
We haven't talked about Mateus Gabriel in a while here. Mateus Gabriel, world champion in IBJJF.
Wasn't he? He was on one of the last UFC or ONE FC cards. We saw him.
Might have been.
Yeah. You
He
keep
took
on
no,
keep on talking.
He didn't take on Tommy Langacker.
No,
that was
but-
Canito.
keep on talking.
Mateus Gabriel is real,
real.
real good. We haven't had a chance to talk to him in a while. I think I interviewed him in Texas a couple of years ago, but I'm not sure if that interview ever came out. But regardless, Mateus Gabriel, very, very good grappler. ONE FC changed their rules for this matchup. If you've watched previous ONE FC cards, if you haven't, watch them. They're on Amazon Prime. They are phenomenal. Great production, very fun.
Ooh, he beat Micah Galvao by inside heel hook at Austin Summer Nogi.
Yeah, Mateus Gabriel is really, really good.
Ooh.
He's on that level. If you're not familiar with him, you should be.
See,
He's
I'd
a
rather
world
say
champion.
fancy than spicy.
Super spicy, Miranda. In this matchup, ONE FC changed the rules. Is you can no longer pull guard. You have to actually like pull someone into your guard, and that's why we saw so many kind of like jumping, flying, either triangle attempts or guard pulls from Mateus Gabriel because of that new rule.
Oh, okay.
I think that new rule is phenomenal because again, I like Mikey's game, kind of the sit down and kind of force guys to come to you, but I do love the additional engagement you get. And we saw in this match, because ONE FC is an MMA kind of mixed martial arts and martial arts organization, you saw Ty like fake an ankle pick, come up high for a body lock, and you saw Mateus Gabriel kind of jump guard, and Kade just drops him down.
Yeah.
And like slams him. I was like, any other rule set that slams him on, like that is a slam. Like Fight
Yeah.
to Win, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
A couple other organizations you're okay with that. I don't know what
ADCC, you're
ONE
okay with
FC's only in a sub though for ADCC.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
But isn't that a high velocity takedown?
It was, but again, it definitely
Like,
other
that's what I would
organizations
call it.
that would have been a slam. But I love that ONE FC with the cage and with the mats, with like the canvas mat, was like no one said. Commentary didn't even address
No.
that, like that was potentially like a faux pas in a lot of grappling organizations. It was like, yeah, man, we do MMA here, totally normal takedown, and it was nice to see, and that sort of set the pace for Kade in this match. And you saw him just 10-minute match. World title fight, first world title fight for the men's divisions.
He won BJJ Stars,
Yeah.
the GP.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, Mateus
Okay.
Gabriel.
I know I've seen him recently. I was trying to figure out why.
What recently he had been on.
Where I'd seen him recently. Okay.
The pace that Kade put on was fantastic here. And he just puts Mateus Gabriel into the fence, and he just keeps pressuring him into the fence, And the commentary talked about Mateus Gabriel had dealt with, like, he had done some cage grappling. But I'm curious, and you and I have both heard rumors of like Kade making the transition over to MMA.
Yeah.
And I've heard Ty talk about it. I've heard Kade talk about it. And this match made it look like that he had been working into the cage more.
Which is great. I mean, it would be fun to watch both of them transition into MMA.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both young too.
They're 19.
Yeah.
And
so they
but
have a lot of time.
Him working into the cage was interesting because he kept Mateus on the cage for most of the time. And you saw him, the ref kind of stood them up, I think 2 or 3 separate times, and they were close to the cage, and because there wasn't enough
there
activity
wasn't enough
happening.
activity. Which I liked. I liked the fact that they did that.
Yeah. Then I was curious to see, why Kade was so content to keep Mateus Gabriel on the fence. I'm not sure if that's something he's been training to do, or if that was something that he thought Mateus Gabriel was going to be uncomfortable with, which is why he decided to keep him there.
Well,
I'm not sure if you had a kind of thought on that.
I don't know. I mean, normally you try to put somebody into the fence because they have nowhere to go. And it's like they get more crunched up. They normally do it like near your coach, so then you can hear your coach telling you
for
what
MMA,
to do.
it's like really common to do.
And you keep them up against it because you can't stretch out. You can't get away.
You can't grapple as effectively if you're kind of pressed up against the cage like that. It was definitely a tactical decision that you saw. And
every once in a while,
Mateus Gabriel was very willing to just kind of pull guard given the opportunity.
Yeah, and every once in a while you would see Kade just kind of stare at him and like, "Are you done?" and then do something.
Right.
Which was, I thought, kind of hilarious.
It was wild.
Then he would do some kind of jumping freaking.
He tried to flip
backflip
pass
over him.
once.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really interesting is you saw the kick passing that he was doing, where Kade would lift his leg up, and Mateus Gabriel likes to play like a De La Hiva game. He did a really good job one time, almost inverting to Kade's back. Kade gets out of it, never really gets a semblance of any full back control, but definitely Kade has to defend the back pretty aggressively and scrambles out. And then in the open space, you see Kade not letting Mateus Gabriel like establish the De La Hiva hooks.
Yeah.
In some places, he'll play outside, and then he'll kick pass, and he'll stomp pass, or he'll step pass.
Yeah.
Like over it. It's something that we saw the Rotolos do.
Well, they've been step passing and stomp passing for for quite a
for
while.
most of their career, but
Yeah.
we saw them really lean into probably like 2 and 3 years ago, the stepping, like what do they call it? The leg pin passing.
Yeah.
Where they step on the legs, and I have not seen Kade and Ty like kind of put those two together as much as they did here, where it's like you'd see a super aggressive kick out, and so Kade would take his leg, he would basically kick and slide pass Mateus Gabriel's outside leg,
Yeah.
and he would aggressively like kick the leg out, turn Mateus Gabriel's hips, and then step on the leg on the bottom, and then start to pass.
Yeah.
And you also saw, I think 2 or 3 times, he just threw like a falcon knee. Like a
Yeah.
jumping knee cut pass through the center.
Yeah.
And there were 3 separate times where I was like, that is like a flying knee that he is throwing. He's not trying to put hand on the hip. He is just trying to overwhelm Mateus Gabriel with pressure
just go straight
here.
through the middle.
Yeah. And it was just really interesting because we've seen that kind of ferocity from Kade before.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see it versus a guy like Mateus Gabriel, like him to be kind of nonplussed about putting that kind of effort up against a really dangerous guy in a way that, like, after ADCC and him taking the ADCC title, youngest ADCC champion ever, and then taking it at a stacked weight class in 77 kilograms, him having like that level of confidence at 19 and in this match, this is a confidence that we I don't think we've seen from Kade before. Like, we see like the confidence. He looked bolsterous here, and like he looked unconcerned about Mateus's ability to put up offense against him in a way that I've never seen someone
also,
versus Mateus do.
I don't think anybody recently has really tried to capitalize on that either.
I don't think anyone's been able to.
That I don't think you're able to.
I
but
think when he's kind of flexing on you on top, you have to take the time to kind of like, okay, he's going to give me a rest for a second here. Let me catch my breath and like go back into my guard, go back into position.
He doesn't do it in the same way. You know, some people do it.
Where they're joking and they're trying to rest.
Or they're trying to do something like they're trying to do the backflip like he did, but they land in a knee bar. I forget where that happened. That happened this weekend. In an event, and I forget which event it happened in. It might have been. I don't know.
We watched a lot of.
I don't know. We watched a lot of grappling this weekend, and on top of that, I watched a bunch of people's matches from Nogi in the last year to try to figure out this weekend at Worlds.
Bracketing.
So like everything is kind of blended together. But somebody this weekend somewhere, because I posted it because it was hilarious, tried to do like a flip through somebody and just landed in a knee bar and then got knee barred. And I was like, that's what you get for acting like an idiot.
That happens sometimes.
So no one's been able to do that with him.
No.
Or like, because I don't think, he doesn't.
Both of them kind of do it occasionally, but they end up, it's more likely with how they land, they're going to get triangled or like reverse triangled because they tend to try to land almost in like north-south with it. And you saw Kade towards the end of this match kind of play like that.
Landing in north-south then gives you less options to have somebody, take advantage of or try to regard.
And we know that Kade is good from north-south because we saw him in ADCC submit Lachlan essentially from north-south with that Choi bar.
Yeah.
Like north-south, like Lachlan was playing kind of an outside north-south inverted game, and Kade was able to jump the arm and the hip through basically to get the arm bar. And it's, again, that's something we know is in both of the brothers' wheelhouse, and we've seen Kade do it at the highest levels of ADCC. It's just very interesting. Like what struck me most was just the confidence that Kade had coming into this, and that is not a level of confidence I've ever seen someone have versus Mateus Gabriel.
Okay.
And to both combo the passing, he never really gets past the guard. He never really secures like a dope top position. He throws a couple of like corkscrew foot locks, lens locks, Estima locks, hard. He throws a really, really tight knee bar at one point in this match as well. Then Mateus Gabriel does a great job pushing on the knee, turning the hip out, and like he eats some pops in the knee, it looks like, and that's what even Kade said after, is like, yeah, it popped a little bit, but he wasn't going to tap.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of like really tight foot locks. Kade's ability to jump through and transition to the leg locks is something that...
Polaris, that's where it happened at, but it wasn't this weekend.
Okay.
It was just for whatever reason, they posted it, and it was some guy flipping in. Found it. Sorry.
Nice.
Had to figure out where the hell I saw that at. But...
It's really interesting that we see Kade kind of more, especially with the Michael Galvao win in ADCC in the finals, very willing to go into the leg locks and like jump into the leg locks versus guys like Mateus, like guys that he can't get upper body working with.
Yeah.
He will jump very aggressively to the leg locks and just start like going with a ton of control, and then when it doesn't work.
Was he the one also that was like jumping off the cage at his last match?
Yeah, that was versus Shingo. Yeah. That was his match where and the commentator talked about like he jumps off the cage, like he used the cage. But it's been really interesting to watch like the transformation of Kade. He is the lightweight champion. He called out some guys in his division that are injured, like Langak or Canuto. Like he called out those guys in his post fight, which I love. I am curious how long we as jiu-jitsu people keep him before he moves into MMA. Like this match, he was heavy collar ties,
how much money
heavy slams.
ONE FC gives him, because my assumption is that's where he'll go.
Yeah, I mean, I think ONE FC, so we've not seen the contracts, but we've heard the contracts explained before. I think Gordon on Rogan years ago explained that typically the contracts are, you're not exclusive for grappling, but allegedly some of the guys are exclusive for grappling.
Yeah.
But if you ever decide to make a mixed martial arts debut or a fight in mixed martial arts while under contract, you have to do it with ONE FC.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like you can give him an amateur fight. He has to go pro.
Yeah, pretty much. There's not really.
And you can't. He's like a lot of the judo Olympians. When they go for MMA, they can't go amateur.
Yeah, a lot of commissions. You can go amateur, but a lot of commissions won't sanction you anymore if you're an ADCC gold medalist.
Well, and it's kind of like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like locally, they were trying to get him. Was it an amateur fight locally?
Muhammad Ali, the
jiu-jitsu Muhammad Ali. They were trying to get him a MMA fight locally.
Yep.
And I don't think they could find anybody for him because he's a beast.
Yeah, Max Menez, I think, ran into the same thing for a little bit there. You're really high level credential.
They're bringing in people for Max.
Mm-hmm. You have to, because he's
that's what I mean. Beast. It's very hard once you're a beast in one world.
Yeah.
If it's grappling or if it's wrestling, if it's judo, to then go into MMA and fight somebody who doesn't have that much experience. Yeah. You have to go pro.
Kade looked so physical in this match. I think this is kind of a harbinger of things to come. I think he will. You saw like the way he was unapologetically throwing the collar ties and throwing the pushing and like throwing the knees through. That did not look like a guy that is like most submission grapplers do not fight like that, especially at his level.
Yeah.
I think they're going to open that gym in Costa Rica, him and his brother. And then they're going to maybe look to make the jump over.
Yeah.
I think sooner rather than later, I don't see Ty or Kade being 23 and then making the jump. I see them in the next like 18 to 24 months.
Well, we'll see what happens. The next 2 years we'll see what happens.
So, any more on the Kade match?
No, that's about it.
Moving on to Ty Rotolo, who also was on this card. So, ONE FC does their cards where there's a main card, and then in the Prime Video, there's also like an undercard.
Yeah.
They're both awesome events.
It's like a lead card, I think.
They call it a lead. That's what they call it, a lead card. So Ty was on the lead card, which is very funny in the last couple of years how that's kind of swapped, where it's like Ty, his ADCC run in 2019 was like, he was like, what, 16 or something like that?
Yeah.
It's funny. I did an interview with him when he was 16, and it's on the Grappling Ground YouTube page, and you can see me talk to him, and then like just see, I didn't interview Kade because Kade was in that ADCC. I talked to him a little bit off camera, and then to see those guys basically from that interview like jump off immediately, because I was one of the first people to like interview them after that, and then to see where they are now, it's like, wow, you guys took it and ran with it. And now Ty going from being on ACC to being like the brother that everyone knew to now that's sort of swapped a little bit, and Kade with the world title and ADCC and now the champion and ONE, he is on the main card and his brother is on the preliminary card or on the lead card. Has been very interesting because we know how good Ty is, and that just kind of speaks to how good both of the brothers are.
But then you also got a situation where Ty got the bonus and Kade didn't.
Well, Ty had the finish. Yeah. So let's talk about the finish here. We had Ty versus Mateus. Give me his last name.
No, not Mateus. Murat.
Not Mateus.
Murat Gafurov.
You looked it up. He's been with ONE FC
since 2010.
12 years with ONE FC.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Which is a long period of time. He's 38 years old.
Yep.
He's a Russian MMA fighter.
He is double the age of Ty. And commentary brought that up too, which I appreciated. He looked good, but Ty did something here that was very interesting. He would pull, instead of going for, he would like aggressively go into
Murat.
I keep looking at Mateus here and like referencing the name.
We're gonna cross out Mateus.
He would go into Murat, and then you would see him try to basically do a standing pendulum sweep. And I don't know if there's a wrestling term for that move.
Standing pendulum. There probably is.
Yeah. Because he would like roll, and he would almost completely land. He would go into his back. He would invert, but he would leave the leg in the center. He did it twice or 3 times in the match, and then he would try to like kick Murat over, and he would either end up with like Murat with him on the bottom and Murat trying to pass, or he would end up on top of Murat. He did a great job of one of these of basically getting back to his butt, then getting his hips underneath him, and basically like essentially double legging from the butt Murat down to put Murat in his guard. Yeah, and it was just. Because you can't pull guard anymore, and because Murat is a pretty credentialed, pretty good wrestler, it was
and
really
Murat put up a hard fight.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I was surprised that
for a guy we're not as familiar with in the grappling scene, I don't think we've ever on this show talked about him in a grappling match.
No.
So for a guy that we are not super familiar with, I'm not sure the audience for Grappling we're not just super familiar with. Kade blows most dudes out of the water. Yeah, like true. With the quickness, both brothers do. Yeah. So to have Murat go on for this long, and then eventually he gets him with like the armbar entry was really interesting.
It's a triangle.
Well, he goes for the armbar first, and then he like lifts his core and hips up over and just puts his leg over the top. Oh, okay. And then he triangles it. And I thought it was a really wild display of core strength and flexibility and balance, because that is not a position we see most people that are ever able to make the transition from the armbar into the triangle like that. Yeah. Like he bellies like down with it and then just goes, "Oh, you're still up. I'm just going to go and finish the triangle here," and like lock the triangle up. He locks over, and then they get into this little protracted triangle battle. Yeah. Where Ty in the post-fight interview was talking about, my legs were getting tired, so I knew I had to go for the arm.
And then he was wrist locking him at the same time.
Did he break his wrist or break his forearm?
I don't know.
Because I've heard 2 reports. One it was a wrist, one it was a forearm.
I don't know what happened to Murat. Let me see if I can find out what happened to Murat. But Murat was like shaking his arm afterwards, and then Ty made a comment about
Pete the Greek.
About Pete the Greek teaching him how to wrist lock.
Because all those guys kind of run together in the same. The surf fight, the Autos. Like Pete's been around that crew for a long time.
Pete's awesome. I had pizza with Pete after the seminar that he did down at the gym.
Oh yeah,
he was pretty cool. We hung out with him for a bit. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, so I think it looked like Murat's hand and like wrist was not great. I saw one that was a broken wrist. I saw one that was like a broken forearm or like the head of a radius or something like that. I don't know again. And Ty wished him well. He's like, man, I don't like to do it, but I'm here to win. And then he gets $50K for that. Did Ty also call guys from his division? Was that just Kade?
No, I think it was just Kade.
Okay. I mixed it up because, again, I would love to see these guys stay really active in 1FC. I think they put on really exciting grappling matches. I think that if they continue to perform as they have been performing, 1FC will continue to have grappling matches on their cards. I think 1FC has figured out that you need a certain style of grappler in order to generate interest. And there's a whole host of people that they have not signed. They are typically signing people that are very, very good, but also have a very, very friendly like viewer style for both grapplers and also for maybe the greater MMA community. I've seen some of the comments in places that 1FC posts these stuff. I see a big dichotomy of like people that love it and people that aren't a huge fan of it. But that's kind of what you see whenever you see a mixed rule set like this in 1FC. I know 1FC is the organization that does mixed rules better than any other organization.
Somebody on Reddit says it's a forearm break.
Okay, yeah, that's
they said. They said they were saying it was a wrist, but they could pretty clearly see a fracture in the upper forearm.
Okay.
I didn't see it that. I don't know.
Someone on the internet was very confident.
Somebody on the internet was looking very hard at what was going on. Yeah.
So I think it's great that 1FC is doing more of these. I think the Rotolo brothers are 2 of the guys that you definitely want on the forefront of that. Curious that Gordon is no longer signed with them. Really nothing has come out about that. I'm kind of fine with less drama and kind of knowing, but it is curious that he was formerly signed with them. Did he ever have a match?
No.
I don't think so. And then has now, we know he's now on UFC Fight Pass.
Against Buchecha.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'll watch that again. ADCC Finals 2019. Did they go against each other again? Or was that the only time?
I think that's the only time they've ever won against each other.
So
I would love to see them go against each other.
regardless, really, really fun event. ONE FC always puts on amazing matchups. Demetrius Johnson has the third match with Marias coming up, and I'm super amped about that. Should be a lot of fun. Not jiu-jitsu, but it's just matchups that I'm personally excited about.
But truthfully, like, you watch these cards and you kind of get sucked into everything else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Thai fights are fun to watch. Like,
Oh,
Muay
yeah.
Thai fights are fun to watch. Little gloves, big gloves,
Mhm.
like, all that shit's
They have it's
great to watch.
They have kickboxing. They have
They're great cards.
Muay Thai kickboxing, MMA, grappling, like, and they'll all have them on the same card.
They just
it's
kind of flop back and
wild.
forth between them all.
And the commentary always kind of leads you through the story really well
Yeah.
in a way that I wish we'd see more grappling organizations do.
And it's Slater from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's the one interviewing everybody. He's one of the commentators.
Is he really?
He's a
Is that-
purple belt.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, it's Slater from.
That's Dragon.
No, it's Slater from freaking Saved by the Bell. That just got his. I can't think of what his real name is, but he just got his purple belt.
Yeah,
He's
we'll get it later.
He's the one interviewer guy. He interviews them.
Huh.
Yeah.
No shit. So where do you want to go next? Want to go to Grapple Fest next?
Yeah, we can go to Grapple
Let's go to
Fest.
Grapple Fest. Let's talk about the main event for Grapple Fest. We have Jacob Couch taking on Owen O'Flanagan. This match was a title fight in was it under 80 kilograms?
I think so.
I think that doesn't. No, probably under 90 kilograms for these two guys.
Yeah, because they are bigger gentlemen.
Right.
I will look that up as we talk. Because this is my other job, to look things up.
Pretty much.
Because we don't pay attention.
We pay a lot of attention.
We pay a lot of
It's been
attention,
6 events this week,
Yeah.
so we get some gaps in the notes.
Grapple Fest.
Overall, this match was a very, very close match. I would have struggled. I watched this match. I was like, ugh, and the commentary talked about it. I would struggle to make a decision in this match. I do think Owen getting the nod here is reasonable. He has more kind of work from the bottom. That's where he was most of the match. He was looking to sort of invert and like looking kind of for the legs. And Jacob was for pretty much 90% of the match looking to pass. And
Sorry, I got sidetracked. I was looking at Grapple Fest. I was trying to find. No, I saw a match at Grapple Fest and it interested me. Okay, I was trying to find out I was trying to find the picture of him. He is the under 90 kilograms.
okay, it was under 90 kilograms.
I will put my phone down now, and later I will figure out who that was. And so yeah, It
was really just like he sat in the knee cut for a long time. Like Owen did a really good job trying to invert and trying to kind of get to the legs or kind of sweep him over for the majority of the match, and really showed his flexibility and his dexterity is in preventing Couch and forcing Couch a lot of times to show off his balance.
But yeah, it also showed Couch's balance and how Couch understood kind of where Flanagan was going.
Yeah.
And how to kind of
stalemate
it. But at the same time, he wasn't really able to create any action from those positions either.
It seemed like you saw Couch like not get stuck in a game plan, but kind of hit a wall of like, I really want to start passing you like this. I know that because Owen is so dangerous with both the triangles and the leg locks, there's like a very limited range that you can really engage his guard in, and he's so flexible. Even when Couch had him folded in half, Owen didn't seem like strained. He didn't really seem like at issue with that position. He was very comfortable there, and that's a problem when you have guys that are like big and flexible like that, is that you can invert and you can just prevent someone from like doing the traditional stack passes that tend to work at the weight class, especially at 90 kilograms, where most people don't have that level of flexibility. So I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of other guys. Couch does absolute a lot, so he does run into a range of different grapplers. But
there aren't a lot of larger.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a style matchup that he would have run into like that.
Because even like even some of your larger grapplers that play a lot of guard, like let's say Tex Johnson, isn't flexible. He plays a guard. He plays
a lot of a guard in front of you.
He plays a seated guard, but he doesn't play like a flexible knees over his head guard, Right. And I can't think of anybody that's not small that plays that game. It's kind of, it's not a very common thing because they either play
Victor Hugo will play a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy that I can think of. But even then, he doesn't sit like in protracted times of like full stack inversion like Owen did. And Couch did a really great job like staying over Owen's hips enough here to prevent Owen from being able to really ever free his hips and open him up. And when he did, he pushed him out.
It almost makes you wonder if he took a little more chances with that and kind of allowed him to open up and try to invert if he could then take advantage of the invert and kind of either do, you know, when you kind of jump over people's backs and take their back or try
kind
to
of the jumping Kimura sequences or stuff like that's available.
Or something if he would have taken, and I understand, especially when you're in a situation where you're in a main event or there's a lot of money on the line, you don't want to take those chances that you would.
It pays for you to be tentative here in a really, really close technical matchup like this. And like I can't fault Couch or Owen for like playing the game that they played, but it was definitely two guys that sort of hit a wall with each other. And Owen, I think more in the match, was able to get a few things
he almost
going.
Gets his back, like once or twice.
Yeah, once was a really, really great
there.
roll through on like wasn't a berimbolo, like kind of a variation of like a berimbolo. And Couch did a great job of like preventing it, where most guys would get Owen's just gonna land flat on their back there. But other than that, it was just a lot of Couch through a toe hold. I thought looked good at the top once, but Owen didn't really even address it that much, and so
but we kind of know that he doesn't give a shit about stuff like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care.
Yeah, so that was the match. It's a close match. It goes to Owen. This is a matchup I'm really happy GrappleFest put on. I like, again, even if it wasn't the most exciting, like wasn't the Kade match with like that level of activity. This was definitely a slower paced, exciting match where two guys like Couch almost winning trials at ADCC and Owen like winning his trials at ADCC. Like that's a matchup of guys at that similar ranking that I really like organizations putting on, because it tells us a lot about where guys are.
They're two newer, I would say, after like during trials is when both of them kind of gotten bigger.
Like, and you saw from both of them.
Not saying they haven't been doing jiu-jitsu. They haven't had good jiu-jitsu prior to that, but that's when the world kind of paid attention to them.
It's when guys, you saw them take big wins off people and like, oh, these guys can really contend and compete and are on that sort of next world stage level. In trials, so
which I think is kind of
interesting
that Couch, out of all the Daisy Fresh guys, Couch is the one that's taken off.
Dude's really fucking good.
Yeah, he is. You
know, and they kind of split a little bit, but yeah, Couch seems to be the one on that team that is really taking his grappling to the next level. And he has a friendly style. He's a friendly dude. He's like a guy that I'm very happy that we have in the sport.
Yeah.
You know, as like a face of the sport, like a friendly guy with really good jiu-jitsu.
We'll have to see him at Worlds, because he'll be at Worlds.
Oh, he will be at Brown. Yeah. And probably. If this dude doesn't get a belt
Will,
on the podium.
And Will is with us, and Will gave him the seat at ADCC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got an in.
We'll see if we can get him in our pool.
Say what's up to Couch.
We have a pool at the house. So we're like, hey, Couch, you want to come over and swim in the pool?
That'd be awesome. So, yeah. But again, props to Owen. Owen takes this. This is a matchup that I definitely would anticipate us seeing again in the future. I'm not sure in what event, but these guys are two guys that are very much coming up into the ranks, and Owen showed us how good he was at ADCC, and surprised, even surprised us at ADCC, that like just at how on the level he is, and that again speaks to where Couch is and where he is. I'm very excited to watch both these guys continue. I know we're going to see Couch in more events. I can't wait to see who GrappleFest gets for Owen to defend against, because I think that both these guys the division is moving. They keep guys active in this division. I'm very excited. Like I'm trying to think of who they would bring in. Honestly, if you're gonna bring in anyone, I wouldn't hate to see the Wagner match again. If we're gonna
Has Wagner done a GrappleFest match?
I don't know.
I don't think he's done GrappleFest.
He did Subversive this weekend.
Yeah, true.
And then he had a great match with him at ADCC.
Well, it was also in Florida. It was in Miramar.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he had to go anywhere.
Hey man, we've seen Wagner go to Italy and like a bunch of other places. He's run on Polaire. Like we've seen Wagner will go places. I'm down to see it. That would be a rematch that I would love to see, especially with how the first match is. You can reasonably go, Wagner's a guy on that level. He already has a win over him. That's the match. For me, that's the matchup to make. Even though we just saw it, they're definitely great European talent or American talent, or worldwide talent to bring in for him. In my head, that's the first one I can think of.
Okay.
It'd be fun to see. So, co-main event, we had Rosha Walls taking a really nice armbar win. Do you have the...
Gabby Shuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
It was the women's under 70 kilograms strap.
So Rosa takes that title. Really great to see her. We've seen her have a couple of really good performances on Grapple Fest. Did take an L at Who's Number One, but that was a very interesting match. So it's really cool to see her kind of immediately bounce back here onto the Grapple Fest in a co-main event for a title shot, and then finish via sub.
Yeah.
She looked good here. The first, what do you think, 6 or so minutes of the match were mostly like double-seated open guard, leg locks. Rosa was going really aggressively on the legs. Very, very even legs, but you saw that in moments like Rosa would definitely get the knee line inside and be more aggressively digging for the heels.
She is now training with Daisy Fresh.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
she went over to them.
She
went over to them.
She was
right
like Fion's,
after,
one of Fion's main people for a while.
Yeah, and then Fion, I don't know where Fion is exactly right now.
She was at Essential for a while.
Is Essential, but she's been kind of touring around.
Okay.
Because she's been doing tours and everything.
Yeah, I would hope you get your belt and then you make and then you make your money.
But Rosa kind of left her and went off to Daisy Fresh and has been hanging out with Pedigo.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so she's been training under Pedigo.
Which
I thought was part of the reason.
There's a lot of guys that come to that Pedigo camp and just really take off. Like there's something in that room with what they are doing.
They have a brand new facility. They just build them a brand new gym.
Yeah, it looks great too.
Yeah.
But they're really producing some high level talent. So Rosa, so great leg work at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Rosa kind of goes, past time.
Yeah.
Gets on top, puts a ton of heavy pressure in the knee cut, and
Gabby goes for the
like deep half.
Deep half.
And then there's a period of time in deep half where Rosa does a really good job of, in deep half, if you don't control the opposite arm, the person can just flip you over and turn, so you have to control that arm. And so it's this weird battle between, I'm not in a really good position to get the Kimura or the arm bar, but if I hold it up and on, you're not in a really good position to sweep because you need to pull that elbow down in order to turn me kind of either direction. So you get in these balance battles. And Rosa was doing a great job on top. She had her top leg trapped in the half guard. The other leg was over top of the shoulder. She did a great job of continuing to balance on top. And then when the opportunity presented, she pulls her other leg in. So she's now both legs on top, pushes her knee out, transitions over to the X arm bar, pushes with the X, switches the legs, and gets the arm bar for the title.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really, really nice sequence.
Yeah.
And you can see...
falls towards the head with the arm, which always puts a lot of, like, pressure on your shoulder, which...
Well, it's a great way to do it, though, because if you fall low, then like there's more rotation there. It doesn't put that negative pressure on the shoulder. But if you fall high, especially with your leg across the top there, they can't really turn up and roll into you. You have to roll like down through it, and most people just are unable to make that motion with their joints. So really cool to see Rosa get that. I am, again, really excited to see who they bring in for her to face. 2 armbar wins on Grapple Fest, back-to-back cards. Like, very, very fun division. Can't wait to see. I hope they get more UK talent, or European talent. European talent on, because it's been awesome to watch like a lot of the talent here.
Yeah, and then the third title match was Julia Mailey. She had a knee bar finish against Nadine Ethelkati.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Again, love to see knee bar wins. Again, I love the Grapple Fest is loading the upper pieces of their card.
Under 65 kilograms.
Yeah.
So they have 2 women's divisions. They have a 70 and a 65. So, I mean, they are going to bring a bunch of new talent from Europe and,
Yeah, it's awesome. I've really enjoyed watching their cards. It's part of Fight Plus. So if you have Fight TV, I think I pay like $50 a year or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. I paid $25 for the pay-per-view. So
Subversive.
I probably got... Oh, that was Subversive.
Yeah, that was Subversive.
But it was all on Fight TV. Oh,
all on Fight TV. Again, Fight TV, that's why I keep the Fight TV Plus is because they do have, like... for $50 a year, I will watch as many Grapple Fest cards as they have.
They have a lot of other fun stuff on that, too.
Yeah, we watched Fight Circus 5 or 4.
Yeah,
during the pre-show.
If you know about Fight Circus, you know.
You know about Fight Circus. So yeah, again, it's one of the many platforms that we pay for this show. But it's definitely, the Grapple Fest puts on great events, and it's great you gotta support it. If you want the organizations to be able to pay grapplers and have grapplers on and showcase the level of talent that we love talking about on this show. What do you
Okay.
want to move on to next?
We're gonna talk about. Let's go to Soji.
Let's go to Sogi. This was the.
Is it Soji or Sogi?
I, for 4.5 years now, have been saying Sogi.
Okay, maybe it's Sogi, maybe it's Soji.
That doesn't mean anything at all. I did not expect a follow-up question. SOGI. Sogi.
It's in Long Island.
Yeah, it's at
10
Triangle
Planet.
Gym.
Yeah, 10th Planet, Long Island.
Yep.
It used to be in Dojo. Oh man, New York Dojo, New York, something like that.
So the first
Yeah.
couple ones.
Yeah, it used to be in.
This is the best
New York
produced
more.
Sogi that they've had. And I love they're on Flow now,
Yeah,
which is
it was
great.
their first show on Flow.
And the commentary was great. I think they had Big J on commentary,
Yeah, it was
which
Big
is
J and Jess.
always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Love hearing Big J on commentary. Super knowledgeable. Honestly, commentary this weekend was great overall, and
Yeah.
I love that the level of commentary is coming up because way less events get muted, and it makes me much happier as a fan and as like an analyst to watch it with the insight from the commentary team. Always got to shout out Big J because he's like the best in the East. So love that they got him on. We're going to talk about the finals match and a super fight on this card for Sogi. Do you want to talk about the finals match first or
Yep.
the super fight?
Let's go finals match. It was Kenta
Iwamoto.
versus Andrew Solano.
So they went through, this was a bracket,
Yeah.
a welterweight bracket. Kind of had some great matches. And Solano both guys looked great on the
yeah.
day. They meet up in the finals, and we just see Kenta Iwamoto, like,
Double leg him to the people.
double leg him into the people. Like, dude, Kenta's wrestling is a problem
Yeah.
for a lot of people. We saw it. We
saw it at.
in trials.
Yeah.
Was the first time we won Asian trials, and he'd been in ACC before.
Yeah.
We saw him win Asian trials and went, dude, this guy can
Well,
wrestle
and
his ass off.
remember his commentary, like his little interview after trials, and it was
Yes.
something to the event of, I like to wrestle sometimes, or
Yes.
something like that. And I was
Oh,
like,
God, it's a very short
Yeah.
interview. If you can go find his interview with Full Grappling right after he won Asian Trials 2021, I think, maybe 2022. I think it was second trials.
No, it was 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah.
It's a very short interview. He's basically like, I like to wrestle, guys. and then I was like, yeah, Kenta, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then you watched him with JT Torres and how he just looked amazing. I mean,
I
loses
mean,
in first
he
round.
held his own.
He took
held his
JT
own.
Torres into places people did not expect a two-time returning champion at ADCC to be taken by an Asian trials winner.
Yeah.
And it really, like, we knew in trials, like, this guy's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Him getting the JT matchup, I was like, oh, it's rough. And then you saw how well he did at
Yeah.
JT. And then we saw him on Submission-Only Series a couple weeks ago. He did lose that in the finals here. But again, he's B-team now. He makes it to the finals again here.
Yeah.
And looks really good versus Solano.
Yeah, he
Like,
does. He does.
and that's what you'd expect
And
from
you
a
have
guy at B-team.
And you just have
at the
Solano
level.
playing a lot of guard. You have Kenta trying to pass the guard
Yep.
and attempting to pass. And then it
Like,
goes-
like good.
yeah.
I love those good leg lock exchanges too, from both guys. And you
Oh,
saw
yeah.
Solano, like, I love that
And I
we've
think
seen
Kenta's
the
had a lot
change
of
meta.
I think Kenta's also put a lot of time into his leg locks.
You just saw he had a comfort there. Like, Solano scares guys in the legs and with the triangles and with the leg locks. And Kenta is a guy that we've seen in a couple of events recently, like, get into leg lock exchanges and just look very calm and like, okay, put my leg here, turn, like, almost methodical, kind of the same way that Gordon is.
Yeah.
Where he's like, okay, I'm here, I gotta, like, turn your leg out, turn your leg, and, like, he doesn't have that ferocity in, like, oh god, I gotta escape. He's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're here, and I think, I don't know if he gets that from B team or from his former team,
Yeah.
but we see a lot of the B team guys. It's a hallmark of B team guys.
I think that's a hallmark of his grappling. Do you ever see him really scared? I never really
No.
see him scared. Even when
No,
he's
that's a good point,
Even when
actually.
he's in a bad position, he doesn't look scared.
Nah, he's just like, oh, we're here.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
moving on.
yeah.
Yeah, but
he's-
Solano had him in a couple of places where Kenta just like, okay, turn the leg,
Yeah.
open the knee line here, and we're out again. It was one, they were close to the wall, and you saw Christian Angola like moving
Yeah.
people away in chairs. And I always love when events and promoters like let guys move off
Yeah.
the area if they're in something that is important because they are grapplers like running the event. You
Yeah.
know it's important. If you have an opportunity to let them keep working, like I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
It just stops the edge play. It fixes a lot of problems we see in rule sets, and I thought that was good, but it was also cool to see Kenta, like Solano be very comfortable with the entry,
Yeah.
and then Kenta go like, okay, well, I gotta get my legs out,
Yeah.
get my legs out. They go to overtime. Solano starts. One thing I like that Sogi does.
Yeah.
We openly are not a big fan of overtime on the show, but if you're going to have overtime, I really like that there's one overtime.
Yep.
It's like one and done. Like you
Yeah.
got one shot. You can't game it. I don't have to watch a 10-minute match and then 10 or 12 minutes of overtime.
Yeah.
I get to watch, the match, and then
Two
we
overtime
go into
rounds.
2 overtimes, one per person, and we're done. Solano goes on the arm first, and I think because Kenta was the dominant one in regulation, he gets to choose.
Coin toss.
Oh, it was a coin toss for this one.
Coin toss.
Midwest Finishers was the other way, right? Wins the coin toss. Wait, Solano wins the coin toss, right?
Yeah, Solano goes first.
And goes for the arm first, which I think is a good strategy.
Yeah.
Because you want to. With one overtime, it's interesting.
Generally with 3, like when you have a standard 3 overtimes, if you're losing or you're losing by ride time or you have to get something very quick, you go to.
It's usually the last of the 3 for the person that's losing goes to armbar.
Yeah. Spiderweb
Position. Solano goes there, and again with one overtime, it's a really interesting for me, it's a more interesting tactical fight because it's like you got one shot. You can either choose to try to beat the guy in ride time or choke him.
I have another weird rule to tell you that you might have interest in.
Okay.
Did you know? Well, it's not this match.
Okay.
But in overtime, did you know that once the offense sets, then the defense can do whatever they want?
That was this match.
Was it this match?
That was this match.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because I made that.
Jay yells from commentary.
Yeah.
And then Solano, to his credit, clarifies.
I couldn't remember if it was this match or if it was another match where the whole situation happens.
Dude, and I love to see educated competitors like this. Like Solano has Kenta in the armbar and spiderweb position, and he's set up, and then Kenta is like adjusting where he wants to be.
Yeah.
He starts to push Solano's leg off, and they're basically
he gets the 4.
Mm-hmm. And he has the leg over his head a little bit. I'm right in front of the mic with my hand here. And you saw Solano like arguing, no, my hand's up, and it was really interesting because you saw a discussion with him and the ref, and then you saw Jay come in
commentary,
and then you saw Solano come back with like, no, this is the rule, this is how the rules are, and you saw him go, huh, and you saw Jay go, actually, I'm corrected, and like clarified the rule, and like we are moving into an era where our competitors now really, really know the rules well, and I appreciate that because. We had a long time where you'd watch a ref argue with a competitor and a coach, and nowadays, like, there was an argument, but it was because Solano very well understood the rules and knew what he was able to do.
Yeah, and in a situation like that, you can. It's not like IBJJF where I say something to the ref and they DQ
I had
me
to find that rule this 2 weeks ago on Reddit because somebody in one of the I love
about DQing
for DQ for talking.
You can't talk to your ref,
right? And so what somebody was like, okay, I can't. And they went, I can't find it in the rule book.
Yeah,
and I went, and I pulled the rule book and I found it.
You can say hello, but that's about.
You can't talk to your ref. You can't you can't gesture to your ref.
I know.
Which I don't agree with at all. But that's besides
but you can stare at them when they don't give you your points.
I had to go find the rule because I'm built like that.
Yeah.
And cite it in the Reddit comment like 14 comments deep that person only is going to see. But I'm like, educating the community, one reading of a 44-page PDF at a time.
I have to read that 44-page PDF at some point.
You should definitely read your rules. But again,
anyway.
Solano's credit here does a great job of knowing exactly like what Kenta is allowed to do and how he is allowed to basically set everything up. And although he doesn't win in the overtime, I really love like educated competitors because it brings the sport forward because those guys are going to go back to their gym and make sure that their gym knows how to do it, and it brings the community up. Even though I'm not a fan of the overtime, knowing your rules is really important. Kenta gets to retort and has the second overtime, and he takes rear naked choke.
Yes.
She takes the back position,
and
then does a beautiful job of like locking it in, really, really controlling Solano, and then the rear naked choke game that people have has gotten crazy. People are getting so good at getting under the chin quick.
And that was also in Subversive. There was a bazillion rear naked
Wagner.
chokes.
Go watch Wagner's match with Ty Freeman in Subversive.
Beautiful.
It's like
ton of them.
He goes from muffler to hand. This is Wagner's match, but like the way, and Nicky Rod, like watch Nicky Rod do it. The way
Nate
and
Marquardt,
speed that
all of his rear naked chokes in Subversive were the
guys
same
are under the neck and under the chin.
Even if they don't, they
just now.
Even if they just go across the face. I mean, your face is there. Everything below
under
your
the
nose.
eyebrows is the neck.
Yeah. I'd say nose.
No, nose is the root. Nicky Rod says eyebrows, but I appreciate that.
But then you just go against people's eye sockets. That doesn't really do anything.
You can't touch the front of the face. That's the rule. But I just love that we're seeing like a development in like guys that can walk up the one arm rear naked choke. So like before that was like a pretty unique skill, and some guys could do it. It's like, oh, I had a one arm rear naked choke. that is like not uncommon nowadays to watch, especially in finals matches or like overtime matches like this. You see really quick rear naked chokes. Kenta gets the rear naked choke, wins Sogi, finally takes an overtime victory here. When previously, you know, in his last one, I think he got beat in a submission only series.
Yeah.
So really cool to see him move, you know, to take this. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more of Kenta Iwamoto.
I think so too.
Especially if he's on this circuit again and he's willing to travel and willing to move around. Like, and he's a guy that I love. I love his style. I love that he's like forcing the top pressure wrestling and getting guys down and like really aggressive. His passing looks good. His leg lock defense looks good. His leg lock offense looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Overall, he's very, very well rounded.
In,
Can't wait to see where he
in
goes.
2 weeks, we have that team. There's a 10th Planet team thing where they're. It was like another submission only series, but it was a branch off of them, and they were going to do like a team tournament because if Uriah Faber is going to be on it.
Oh,
some
yeah,
other
it's
people.
a Fight Pass thing,
like,
I think.
it's like 2 weeks.
That is on the Invitational.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's it's not on the Invitational. It's the week after the Invitational.
Okay.
But it has like, you know, Uriah Faber and I forget who else.
Yeah,
they were supposed to be teams.
I remember that being announced.
And I remember them talking about the teams, but I don't know if they said who the teams were yet.
Okay.
But like Kenta, I mean, has already been on 2 other events. Technically, they're all 10th Planet. They're all, you know. So it would be fun to see him in something like that too.
Yeah, I really love watching him fight. So that was that match. We also have Pat Shangoli on this match versus Will Bullock. We've actually done commentary for a bunch of Will's matches, but I think he was a blue belt still.
Who, Will?
Years ago, yeah.
Oh,
when I did some more local commentary back in the day. Shangoli takes this. I think the whole match is about 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Shangoli takes this pretty quick heel hook. Again, he really kind of cranks through fast. Scream tap from Will.
We'll see how he does in that absolute bracket that's coming up.
Yep, definitely. I think guys really know what Shangoli is
working
that's
with.
Sort of his MO. That's sort of how he goes. He really is going to grab it and go as hard and as fast as he can. Kind of polarizing for a lot of people, but that's, you know, there are no rules for how fast you can crank in a pro event or any sort of grappling event.
Yeah.
And again, it rubs some people the wrong way. This was a real fast sub, but Shangoli gets it done over Will. He will be in the Absolute in 2 weeks. Again, another big tournament with, you know, the biggest guys. Another event. He's going to be out with Nicky Rod. It will be very interesting to see, you know, he stays on that grind where he goes. So that does it for Sogi. Moving on to what do you want to do next?
Let's do Toro because let's cover Toro.
So Toro Cup happened this weekend. Toro Cup 23 on Flow. A couple of matches we want to talk about here.
In Durham, North Carolina. There were 2 matches that I wanted to just talk about. One is Daniel Charles Frank. He's a local competitor that we've seen for a long time. He is a black belt from Richmond, BJJ. He took on Bobby McMasters from Open Source BJJ in Nashville, North Carolina. Once again, 2 like sort of, I would say, East Coast competitors.
Guys that we know
but
that
if
we've
you've
seen
been,
for years and years.
And he wins it by points. It was a gi match,
which we haven't talked about in a couple of weeks. At
yeah,
least, so
yeah, and
we gotta bring the gi matches back occasionally.
Toro does ADCC rules, so your first half of your match is no points, and then they go into points.
I like that a lot. And so even in half the match,
you know what
it takes
it does?
9-0.
It makes most of your overtime go away.
Yeah.
You know, it really does.
I like the ADCC. Again, I will, after reffing all those matches at ADCC Open and like going through the rules seminar like 3 separate times. You and I both got our ref cert, our Class C ref cert for ADCC. I am on board with the rules, and I think that overall, watching the 3 or 4 trials we've been to live, like doing the Opens, like you competed at the Opens, watching the racing at 2019 at the World Championships, 2022 at the World Championships. Like, it's a rule set that for the most part works really well. It allows the no-gi, it allows the, you know, no points, no submit, like guys to work their game and do whatever they want, but it also allows the people that are going to play a more positional game and like a more traditional kind of position first game the opportunity to win. And so I think it marries those styles very, very well. And with the overtime too, it gives you...
And it's exciting. It creates a very exciting...
It creates a change dynamic in the match, and it gives you like a varied win condition throughout the match that I think it works really well. And I think we see Toro do it. We're seeing more and more organizations do it. I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, and Toro also does their black belt matches might be in the middle of the card, and they might give you a blue belt and then a an orange belt. They do all kinds of crazy. They go back and forth with levels.
And they support a great cause.
And they do. They normally support a great cause for every tournament they have. The other match was Mia Mataleone versus Lydia Coleman Bergmaschio. I guess she got married recently. I always knew her as Lydia Coleman. But Mia is from High Noon in Virginia. Me and your wife did. No, I don't know if your wife was. I don't think your wife was with me for that seminar. I did a seminar with her recently, but I don't think your wife was with me that time. Okay. Anyway,
she occasionally goes to seminars. I'm like, have fun, have a good time. Bring back cool stuff for me.
Yeah. So, but she gets a topside Kimura. In this match.
Really nice Kimura too.
Yeah, and it was a nice Kimura. And wins that match. And there was, I think, 14 other matches on.
Yeah, it was a good card. Toro's always fun. I love the ADC rule set, and I wish that again more organizations would.
They used to run. Their owner used to run U.S. Grappling, which
Bagels.
Bagels, and Bagels is probably doing Nogi Worlds when I think about it, because he does everything you could ever. He wins his bracket all the time. But he used to do USA Grappling, which was one of the most well-run local tournaments.
I did a lot of those.
I used to work for him all the time.
I cut to 135 one time for U.S. Grappling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a gang of fun.
He used to let me work for him to compete for free.
I loved him because you could weigh in the day before.
Oh, yeah, too.
I love they you go in, you'd weigh in, and then even if I'm not cutting much weight, I just love the peace of mind of getting
I just like the fight. I could go in, I could do my no-gi bracket, I could do my absolute no-gi bracket, and then I could work for the rest of the day. They'd feed me and they'd pay me.
Yeah.
And I got to watch matches all day. I mean, I can't really complain about that at all.
Always.
And it was well run. It was. You didn't get yelled at or anything.
Come back,
that,
guys.
So.
Yeah, I've had some great matches, and I had some great experiences working with them and competing for them.
Oh, and they're fun. They're fun people to work with. So
moving on, Midwest Finishers 11. Let's talk about the main of the two brackets in this. We had a women's absolute bracket and a men's 205-pound bracket. So I wrote 205. I think this is 205. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
But what do you want to start with? Let's start with the women's match first, or want to start with the men's match first? So let's do the men's match first.
Let's do the men's match first.
We had Brad Snyder taking on Andre Porfirio. This was a finals match of a tournament for 205. Andre Porfirio looked good on the leg locks this weekend. He finishes with a heel hook. It was kind of a very back and forth battle.
You were correct. It's men's 205.
Sometimes I get one right for a thing I looked up earlier and then didn't write down, and we had to write down on the pre-show. Gets a belly down heel hook. The camera angle was a little tough to see, but it was very, very nice. Porfirio controlled the knee line, really got extended out well, dropped down, finished the heel hook. Brad is kind of in the running man position out, but doesn't have a chance to ever get the knee line free and up and out. So Andre Porfirio is your 205-pound champion for Midwest Finishers.
Yes.
On to the women's absolute bracket. We had Hannah Harjo taking on Maxine Kade, and this one goes all the way to overtime. And Hannah looked domonant in the regulation.
She did.
A big big offensive push for most of the match.
Sometimes I wonder if people, when your first few minutes of your match goes that direction, if then you continue to just survive so that you can keep your power, not your power, but keep your
strength and your energy, and you're not
and then
tired.
And then when you get to overtime, you have all that extra strength because you weren't fighting through it.
And it's a strategy we've seen, and I think Midwest and regular finishers and East Coast finishers, and what do you call it? Finishers both have the Maluap rule. Yeah. So if you go too far in that, you'll get walked over.
I've never seen Midwest finishers use it.
I thought they had it, but I could be incorrect. It might only be a finishers thing. But I thought they had the same rule.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I thought a couple of organization events ago they talked about it, but this one, Maxine doesn't get Maluap rule. She's in it. Hannah does a great job, and for a couple of minutes in the match, works an arm triangle, works an arm triangle. A Dodge Ram commercial plays right in the middle of it, and then it cuts back.
Don't you love how that happens?
I don't love that I pay $150 for it a year.
That the last finishers card when Frank Rosenthal was
same thing happened.
Was in the middle of his match. There was some kind of
same thing happened again. It's unfortunate.
If I pay for flow, they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
but I would appreciate if they didn't. But again, it was a very fun match. Hannah was really selling out and working hard, but Maxine does a great job of just defending, prescient defense. Gets the hand up and just kind of never lets the arm fully lock into like under the neck where it's going to cut off everything. And because it's an absolute, you get a little bit of a size variant there. And she does a really good job kind of hunkering down, just kind of eating the choke for a while, working out, gets back to her guard. It goes to overtime, and Maxine's able to take it in over. They go armbar. So Hannah gets first armbar. Yeah. Maxine gets out of it. Bottom of the first overtime, you have Maxine get the armbar, and she's able to finish the armbar. And again, it was a thought process of like, how much do you save in the tank for the overtime if you think you're going there, and it becomes a gamesmanship.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it used before. It's not maybe the most popular thing to do, but I've seen it done.
Again, we will talk shit sometimes, but I try to not fault the athletes too much for the way in which they decide to win.
No, because sometimes you gotta
win.
Sometimes you gotta stall.
Do you want to get your money?
I've been in matches where I've stalled out because I was up on points and I stalled out to win.
Yeah,
you just do it.
Occasionally you're like, I'm up by 4 points. I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make him very tired.
I had an IBJJF match. It was the open bracket, and I was going against a super heavy, and I was up on 3 points, and I literally just locked myself around like her calf and just held on.
Yeah,
because I wasn't gonna. She wasn't passing me and getting points, and I was just gonna hold on to her calf until I won. And that was about it.
I always now it's so great to have the kind of Duarte Craig Jones match from ADCC at point 2.
Yeah,
where it was like, not my favorite match, but that interview at the end where Kynan's like, man, I got to do what I have to. This is my career.
Yeah,
I have to win these matches, and I'm like, yeah, man, I agree with that. Like, I get, like, I can't fault you at all. We've been putting about on the show for years and years and years of not faulting the athletes for, like, how they choose to go and, like, win in whatever tournament rule set that they're going for.
I mean, it doesn't make them very popular, but hey, you got to win. You got to
win. And I respect that. And, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you won. If you won within the scope of the rule set, you still won. And so, yeah. Well, that Pine and Duarte match is always great to point to. So that does it for the recaps. Did we miss?
No, we
got
did.
All the events.
Nope.
Oh, Subversive also happens this weekend.
Yeah.
It was a big ass weekend of events.
Subversive was.
This was a combat jiu-jitsu
bracket
with
super fights that were not combat jiu-jitsu.
Yes, I was a little confused.
Did you get confused by the get down rule? Because that kept on confusing me every single time.
The get down rule was a little confusing. So let's talk about a collection of matches here. I'll let you drive this one.
Okay, so
we can lead through. This was on Fight TV. This was pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was pay-per-view.
But there was a bunch of money on the line, so you gotta pay your grapplers, and that's how you do it sometimes.
Yeah, and the other rule that I didn't know until watching this was that there's no striking in overtime. Once you get into overtime, you're not allowed to pump strike
that rule always.
Which I'm like, that's kind of weird.
You start in a position, and it's like
I get.
It is a little weird. It's like, hey man, can I start in top mount? Why? And just do work, son. Dude, people are starting to think. Again, I've openly talked on the show. I'm not the biggest fan of combat jiu-jitsu.
I love it. I think it's the greatest thing
Miranda,
ever.
You love it. You're having a good time. That's
I watch it.
That's why we cover it.
I watch it. I have a good time. I like watching people slap the shit out of each other.
It is funny. Amanda Levy was on this.
She was
on this card. And I love watching people that have an MMA background.
Oh, because they
come in and they're like, hey man, and like take on grapplers because it's kind of like, oh right, we're a very different sport.
Yeah.
Like watching Brandon Moreno, former UFC 125 pound champion in combat jiu-jitsu, was like, this seems unfair because he's like, oh, bro, this guy's a grappler. I can hit him. Yeah. And they just go to
Ethan Kralestein was a lot better.
Damian Anderson knocked out a guy.
Yeah.
From like a palm strike down from the De La Hiva guard.
I think it's great.
Combat jiu-jitsu
I think it adds some craziness.
They've had some great highlights recently, and then it's not my biggest cup of tea. Miranda loves it, so we're gonna recap this one.
So we had some fun. So it was a team tournament.
That's a Subversive runs. They always run a team style tournament. This is I think the first or second combat jiu-jitsu tournament they've run.
I don't know.
It might be
I'm not sure.
I think it's the first team one they've run, but they might have run another one that was team.
The last one wasn't combat jiu-jitsu because the last one was the one with Brittany was on.
Yeah, that was fun. I watched that live.
That was in Colorado.
UFC was here. Subversive was there, and I got to watch between the two. And it was a very fun.
But
night.
we had Checo on this card.
Gabriel Checo.
Yeah, which we both saw at the Open.
Yep.
The ADCC
I think
Open.
I judged some of his matches at the Open.
I think you did too.
Yeah.
Because I think he was on the mat beside me.
Yes.
Because I remember watching him because he also weighed in front of me. I think he butted in weighing in front of me, and I might have like made a facial expression at him that wasn't appropriate, but it was because I cut a bunch of weight, so
cut a lot of weight.
I wasn't very
You were
happy.
very unhappy.
I was very unhappy. But you know, he has some matches. He has some really good matches. Slapping the shit out of guys and just being able to dominate.
he has like 19 pro fights.
Yeah.
Gotta forget. He fought Rashad Evans in Eagle FC like this year.
Yeah. We didn't know that.
I didn't know. I
fact.
looked up his record
We
because
figured out
I was
this
just
stuff today.
curious, and I went, wait a second, Rashad Evans fought? Wait a second, he fought Gabriel Checa?
And
Wait, he fought Eagle FC?
And I think part of this card, this combat jiu-jitsu card, was actually they were trying to bring MMA fighters, and it was supposed to be MMA fighters versus jiu-jitsu fighters.
Like that.
And that's why we had like Nate Marquardt,
who had a great run.
who had
in
a
the
great
UFC
run. He had a
for
great
lot
run
of
on
years.
this.
Wagner had a good run in the UFC.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Nate-
Like, everyone forgets about that.
Nate won 3 matches, and I mean he decisively won 3 matches.
Yeah. One of them was a
card.
ride time win. I think 2
Yeah.
sub wins.
But I mean they were still decisive wins.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't like he was.
yeah, everyone kind of forgot how much
Yeah.
of a monster Marquardt is.
Yeah. So he was there. We had the match of Giovanna Jara versus Amanda Lev, where Jara wins in overtime with a rear naked choke that was like a face crush. It's pretty nasty on Amanda. But Amanda did a great job. You made a comment about watching Amanda.
Well, I saw
freaking
before because I didn't get a chance to
hit
see
the
the card
crap out of
live.
her.
I watched like it was a highlight. I think somebody Jay or Amanda posted it of just like her from the guard just striking. I was like, oh man, this is what MMA fighters do in jiu-jitsu. Combat jiu-jitsu looks like.
Yeah. And then we had Kyle Bem.
Bam.
He did pretty well, and he wound up making it to the finals against Gabriel Checo. And at the end,
He beats Checo. I think we're going to choke in regulation for that one, right? I think that's what. I think
he
that's
gets
what
the
he did there.
back a minute and a half towards the end, and then he chokes him. From
Yeah,
the
he
back.
gets a renegade choke.
Yeah,
there.
it's like a crank.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a face crank kind of craziness. But and it because it's a team tournament, there's 3 matches at the end.
Yeah.
Or 2 matches.
It's up to 3 matches at the end.
Okay,
depending on
so
how
it was
they
2
go.
matches
Yeah.
because the
'Cause
same team both won.
Wagner also won his match.
No, Wagner was not part of that. He was a super fight.
Oh, he was super. Yeah.
So it was
because that
Kyle Bem
yeah.
and it was Ryan Aiken.
Yes.
Ryan Aiken took on Yuri Villafort, which Yuri Villafort had a pretty good. I mean, he had some pretty decent matches earlier on the card too. It's kind of hard to talk about because like sometimes they would lose a match, and then but the team
These things.
the team would push forward. So then you had like people that lost matches and then come back, and it gets complicated after.
I always kind of forget to do it, but really to take effective notes for a subversive style tournament is you need to actually bracket out everyone's team.
Yeah.
And then you need to do it by like team. And so
Yeah.
we typically do notes in like series where everything's just like match by match by match by match, like regular cards run. And so for these, it makes it really hard to follow.
Because Yuri Villafort actually went against Nate Marquardt and lost to Nate Marquardt and then came back.
But he
in the
moves on
finals.
because his team moved
Yeah,
on
his
because
team
2
moved
of his
on.
team members were able to win the team match and move on.
And it's a little difficult to watch sometimes, but it's definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, Subversive always, for the and the Fight to Win crew that puts on Subversive always do a great job.
Yeah, and the way they do the get down rule is if in 60 seconds you are not on the ground, then somebody has to start on the bottom, and the person on the bottom has both butterfly hooks and both hands locked behind the back, which a friend of mine, that Chrissy Briggs, she was on the last combat jiu-jitsu match card.
Yeah.
She had that dog bar. Is it a dog bar that was
Yeah.
done to her? She was on this one, and she has the most effective way of handling it. She just like stretches them out and like sweeps them from there.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
stretch out. It's a term for the sweep, but like I'm a butterfly guard player myself, and so that's a great. If you ever get to that position,
What is that It's a butterfly sweep, right? But
yeah, it's a butterfly sweep.
Yeah,
it's just it's something you do because if you start.
But I think
putting them in your head position,
she
you
does
can
a
just
really
extend them and crank down, and they can't ever get they either get their hands to the mat and get turned over because they're posting, or they try to get up away from you and you just go out to like X guard or something else. And so it's a really, really hard position if you can actually get like a full lock on your hands, either
and
with
you're
an
allowed
S-grip or a gable
and
grip.
that's what they give them.
Yeah.
So
and you can crank down.
yeah.
It's a really,
I
really
saw some
effective
other people
position.
do it too, and they just stood up. A couple of the guys would just stand up from it.
Yeah, and
like
if you don't crank the guy down well,
Yeah.
you can stand up, or you can actually a lot of times you can counter it where you can stand up with the body lock for the bottom player. It's an interesting position.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a get down rule, I actually, especially in combat jiu-jitsu, this is kind of the best way to do it, because anything else, then one guy essentially has who I'm getting hit immediately in this rule, and it's a weird restart to do in like jiu-jitsu, combat jiu-jitsu. MMA, it's pretty normal, but there to put guys in a position where you're immediately getting hit it's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good way to handle it. Let's talk about Yuri and Ty Friedman.
Okay, well,
or you go.
I know. I was making sure that we were getting through the bracket before we went into the super
Okay,
fight.
so bracket then.
Yeah, the last one was Yuri Villafort versus Ryan Aiken. Ryan Aiken gets a back take. And no, he gets a back take, and then they go into overtime, and they do a crazy 4-count overtime. So, but Team Sugar wins that. That was Kyle Boehm, Ryan Aiken, and Juliana Fortorno. So they win the bracket. It was fun. If you like watching people smack the shit out of each other, it's a good time. And then we go into the super fights. And we had Wagner Hosha versus Ty Freeman.
Mm-hmm. Ty Freeman of Banned from ADCC fame. And from
what?
From Banned from ADCC fame.
Oh, is he the one that...
That's the guy.
He's the guy that, brought the knife out for?
Yeah, that Murillo brought the knife out.
Oh, really?
He's the guy that punched Grisari in the face. He's the guy that put Jay White through the table.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Ty Freeman.
So I know Ty Friedman as the guy that was on stage when got the chair and went after him.
When I'm blanking on
What
his
is
name.
that guy's name? And that guy is
he's great.
Yeah, you just recently think he's the greatest thing in the
recently
world.
came around.
You recently are like, holy shit, that guy's amazing.
I refed a bunch of his matches at the ADCC Open. Kevin Crane. It's like he's always got some theatrics to him.
Yeah, it's theatrics and cockiness.
But you actually watch him what he does on the mat, and you're like,
see, I know
man.
him. I know him as that guy. I didn't realize he was the guy that hit Gosari.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wagner.
That's why. Okay. This all makes sense now.
So now you see why I was excited about this matchup.
Yeah.
This match was great. This was a bunch of double legs and single legs and wrestling.
And Wagner's just not giving a shit if there's a ledge or not.
Dude, there's one thing. Wagner Hosha will go.
Did you hear the coaches?
The ref
did you hear the coaches telling him that? Whoever was coaching him.
Cyborg was coaching
screaming.
Wagner.
Was screaming from the sidelines. It doesn't matter. Just take him over the edge. The edges don't matter.
Yeah.
Just keep on going.
That could have been Seth.
And somebody else said, it kept on screaming, it's the ref's responsibility to keep you on the mat.
I don't know.
Somebody said that. And I was like, holy shit. These refs are not big men.
If you've ever heard Seth give a rules meeting a fight to win, that is kind of what he says.
Well, somebody, and it was not in an accent, so I did not think it was.
Probably, it didn't sound like Cyborg.
No, it was some other random person screaming, it's the ref's responsibility to keep them on the mat. And I was like, holy shit. This shit's about to get fun. But I like watching Wagner anyway, because I like the grittiness of he's gonna wear you down, and he's
ending sequence here is great. This is peak.
I also thought it was interesting to watch him pull.
Yeah, well,
pull into the legs. I've never seen him
He watches JT Torres match on Fight to Win a couple years ago.
Okay.
It is a masterclass in and out of 50-50.
Okay.
He doesn't do it often, but when he does, you realize oh, there's a reason why Wagner got a lot of medals, because there's not a place you can put Wagner where he's out of his depth, and also he just doesn't. The combination of how good he is everywhere, being not out of his depth anywhere, and not giving a single shit.
Did his foot just magically fix itself
I don't
from
know.
ADCC?
I looked at his knees the entire match
because you saw him in the.
I saw him at the Strat the day after Vegas
in a cart
on a mobility scooter, but again he was He had some rough matches, and I said hello to him, and I walked on because I didn't want to bother him the day after ADCC, after the performances he had put on there. Yeah. But he seemed fine here. He looked good.
Yeah.
He gets a body lock on Ty Freeman. He takes Freeman down with the body lock on a restart. Then he immediately jumps the hook and then traps the arm on Freeman.
Yeah.
Then he goes peak vintage, at this point, vintage Wagner.
Yeah.
The thing that everyone had to make a rule for or against, and Fight to Win was like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah. He goes muffler choke or python or whatever you want to call it, where he's one hand over the mouth and nose.
It's muffler.
And then he lifts. I think he calls it a python. So talking about Wagner match. I'll call it a python for this match. The python. And then he's lifting Ty Freeman's head, and Wagner has a grip in his hands that is unique. He can turn guys' heads. He turns Ty's head in a really interesting way, where it's like most guys kind of like fight the hand across, the head across, they pull a little bit. Wagner just takes your head and just like turns it willingly in a way that not many people can do from back control.
He grabs your
that.
like jaw.
He kind of does, but he like palms it. He doesn't like grip in at your jaw. He like palms your whole face and then just turns your head. And then this is what I was talking about, the rear naked choke. He gets there, he tries it a couple times, and Ty like starts to give up the neck a little bit, and Wagner with one arm just goes whoop, immediately beautiful one-arm rear naked choke under, crawls the hand up a little bit to the neck, squeezes, and gets the finish. And it was just the whole series was just vintage Wagner of just like from the body lock on the trip to immediately jumping the back, keeping the arm in, trapping the arm, muffler choke, get the neck on Wagner Hosha.
Yeah.
And like, man.
It was a fun match.
Yeah.
And they, at one point, fall off the stage into
At one point,
the
at
table.
like a couple points.
Well, the one time they go through the table that the announcers are sitting at and into the announcers, which both then complain about how they were injured by them falling off the stage at them.
That happens sometimes.
But, you know, I mean,
Brandon will be fine.
you got to know. You got to know what happened. You got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Any other super fights you want to talk about?
Nah, that was about it.
Yeah.
It was a fun card to watch.
Yeah, $25.
Yeah.
I think it'll be on Fight. If you don't have it, if you don't want to buy the pay-per-view after the fact, I think it's on Fight TV. Usually
It's on Fight TV.
In like
They stay there for a while because when I went back in, they were still there.
If you have Fight Plus like we do, I think if you didn't get the pay-per-view, I think in like 30 or 60 days,
it'll
most
show
of the
up on
pay-per-views roll
Plus.
over to like regular viewing, which I really kind of the UFC model where it's like you don't buy the pay-per-view in like 30 or 90 some period
what they
of
used to
time.
do, they used to play them on TV.
Yeah.
You would see it on TV like a couple months after.
And they roll over where it's on your account. You can watch it without a pay-per-view after the fact.
I
just appreciate
that was the old times of them being on Spike TV.
Like, do you remember they were on Versus?
Versus, yeah,
Or
that was
OLN?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
back in the
remember
day.
that. And then it was Prudential. Was it Prudential or it was something. It was something to P.
Yeah.
Like
fuck, we're old.
Something anyway.
Been watching this a long time. So that's all that we got for matches this week.
Time.
Next weekend, this weekend for you. Not next weekend, this weekend. It's Monday. We have, if I can find it, we have Nogi Worlds coming up.
It starts Thursday.
It should be.
I'm going sometime on Thursday.
Oh, just breaking. Nogi Worlds bracket review. Hey,
shit! Tell me.
This is
tell me when I'm gonna go. Tell me when I'm gonna go.
Now put your phone down.
Okay.
We do black belts. You do after the show. All right.
I've been trying to fit like. This is my excitement of when I get to go. I'm actually stop, go up. Okay, I'm going Thursday.
You're going Thursday. You just find that out?
No, I knew I was going Thursday.
Yeah.
That's That's what they told us before.
Yeah.
That's nothing new.
I know, but they just announced that they had brackets out, and now I'm trying to find the brackets. Let's see. Release the brackets for Nogi World Championships. You guys are finding this out live with us. Let's go to adult. Let's go to male. Let's go all the way down to black. Let's start with the Roosterweight division. Boom, Roosterweight division brackets.
Whoa, that's some.
We got Tadaya Danforth on the same side as Esther Martinez. We have those are the two names I recognize on that side of the bracket. Look for probably Estevan.
Christopher Tran.
Yeah, local guy
from TLI.
Mm-hmm. On the other side, I foresee Estevan Martinez ending up in the finals of the Roosterweight division.
Yeah.
With that bracket.
He won it last year.
Mm-hmm. Moving into the light featherweight bracket, we have a bigger bracket here. Let's see. Looking for some names.
Junie.
Junie's in here. Kevin Dance was in here
there
as well. Pedro Serrano's in here. That will be fun. We have Tomoyuki Hashimoto in here as well. We have Ray De Leon. Dude, Tomoyuki Hashimoto versus Ray De Leon first round.
Yeah.
That'll be a really, really exciting, fun match. We have Lucas Pinheiro also on that same side of the bracket. So the winner's going to face Lucas
all
Pinheiro.
These like fun matches are going to go on while I'm trying to coach people at Blue Belt. I'm going to be trying to watch and look over at the same time.
This is a crazy bracket.
Well, it looks like they did some swaps too. So they were moving people around.
Oh, we have a lot of swaps. Oh, no, we have no swaps. No swaps.
Oh, no swaps.
So on one side of the bracket, we have Lucas Pinheiro, Tomoyuki Hashimoto, Ray De Leon, and Junie Ocasio.
Kevin Danzler's in there too.
And Kevin Danzler on the other side of the bracket with Pedro Serrano on his wing. Yeah. So good luck with that.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I'm not gonna make a pick on that one.
That's gonna be some craziness.
On the featherweight division, we have Ash Williams taking the number 1 spot here. We have Daniel Myra. We have Dennis Presley Jr. and Daniel Myra versus each other. 2 Philly guys. First round on
We
the
have
left
Gianni
side.
Grippo.
We also have Gavin Corbray on this.
Nice.
And
Alarcon?
Adam Benayoun and Richard Alarcon in the
Yeah.
first round. Winner faces either Gustavo Dos Santos or Gavin Corbray on that side of your bracket.
That's going to be madness.
That should be wild. Gavin, again, coming off the Nogi Pans win. Can he make it Nogi Pans and Nogi Worlds? We have Johnny Grippo getting the only bye of the bracket. He's ranked number 1. Ashley Williams on the other corner of the bracket, ranked number 2.
And that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, I mean, he has a lot of points. He's a former world medalist many times.
Yeah, he didn't win Pans either. He got second place in Pans.
On the adult, at the featherweight division for black belt men, we have the bracket that I just opened. I'm going to open it again. Moving on to the featherweight division. Let's try that.
Can I just do feather?
Yeah, let me open up a third time again. Let me go lightweight division.
It's lightweight time.
Hey guys, it's that time of day.
Cisneros.
Where's Cisneros?
On this side.
Oh, nice. And Anthony Michael Perez here as well. And Kieran Kirchik is on that side of the bracket. That's a crazy side of the bracket. And Josh Murdoch is in there as well from Pedigo. Yeah, this will be really exciting. Kieran already gets a bye in the first round.
Oh, there's 2 brackets. Go to the second bracket.
Oh, I missed that.
It's a big ass.
Missing brackets here.
It's a big ass. No, that's the only one that had a second bracket.
Oh, okay. Good catch there.
Dante Leone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
He's by himself.
Former Nogi world medalist world champion.
DeAndre Corbet on the other side.
That would be so they're gonna be in the same bracket. So we probably are gonna see DeAndre versus
Dante maybe
as a semifinal match, and then moving on to the second bracket. So that will be a crazy lightweight bracket again. I'm not going to pick against either DeAndre or against Dante.
No, I'm not either.
Dante has looked amazing, but so has DeAndre recently. And again, the new crowd coming in, Dante's been there for a while. There's a lot of tape on him. You got to kind of wonder.
We're going to get a Cisneros Kirchik probably too.
Did they meet it? They didn't meet at trials, did they?
I don't think so.
Okay, they were close to meeting at trials, but that should be a really, really fun matchup.
Now we get a middleweight.
On the adult middleweight for the men's black belts.
Oh, I'm going to go 100% into our Unity guy that won Pans. That's probably in this bracket if he's there. Not Jefferson, sorry.
All right. We have Alan Sanchez in this bracket. We have Josh Bacalao is in this bracket. We have Jefferson Gasari in this bracket as well, ranked number 1.
His teammate.
And we have bracket 2 as well for this one. We got AJ Agarzarm in this bracket.
Francisco Cuneo right there from Unity.
Yep.
He's one of their stand-up guys. Mm-hmm. He won Pans. Him and Gasari were in finals for Pans, but they closed out. They closed out.
Well, they're ranked 1 and 2.
He does a Uchimata that's ridiculous. Like he throws people in a way that it's crazy.
He's on the same side as John Combs.
Yeah.
And John Combs has he has a Toronto top team guy in his first round, so potentially we could see Francisco versus John Combs there.
Yeah.
We also have Johnny Tama on the other side of bracket 2. This should be super exciting. And then we have Igor Nascimento.
AJ Agarzarm.
Yeah. Well, potentially we're going to get...
He's actually at his weight, too. He's in middle.
I'm happy about that. We have Igor Nascimento potentially going to get versus AJ Agarzarm in their second match if AJ makes it to his first round.
Yeah.
So, should be fun. Moving on to the...
middle heavy.
Medium heavy.
Or medium heavy.
Medium heavy, middle heavy. It's all the same IBGF. We have 2 brackets again. We got Shane Fishman in this. We got Felipe
Gabriel
Souza. We have Joseph Watson here. We have Jontas Gracie as well, and Gabriel Souza from Gracie Bada. Jontas Gracie ranked 3 in this one for points. Oliver Taza ranked number 1. We have Miha Plejovic as well, and we have Benji Silva from Brasa. So potentially, we're going in the first round. We're going to get Benji and Miha there. That should be very, very fun. We have Rafael Dos Anjos, the BJJ one from Alliance, as well, and David Garmo gets a bye in his first round. He takes on the winner of Thiago Silva and Hidrago Hosha in that one. So that should be a very, very spicy bracket. We are moving on to the black belt heavyweights. As I keep opening more and more and more tabs and hope my computer doesn't brick.
Devontae Johnson.
Devontae Johnson. Look who we got. Ranked number 4.
Wagner
Hosha.
And he's in the adult.
He's in the adult. We also, on the
yeah.
same side of the bracket, have Hunter Colvin.
Oh, yeah.
That should be a very fun. And we have first round Elder Cruz versus Brian Peterson. Winner takes on Hunter Colvin. Winner takes on the winner
Probably Wagner Hosha.
Yeah. Probably Wagner Hosha. That's crazy. Other side of the bracket, Devontae Johnson and Charles McGuire.
Yeah.
And Charles Negromonte.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm not pushing against Dante.
And then we go to bracket number 2.
We got bracket 2. We have, Pedro Henrique de Oliveira de El Silva, ranked number 2 here.
Andre Porfirio.
Yeah, Andre Porfirio from Fight Sports as well. Looked good. We covered him a couple of weeks ago on the show.
Yeah.
He looked very good. Santorini Lilius is, again, ranked number 3 here on the other side of bracket 2. So, bracket 1 is crazy here.
Yeah. They definitely did not spread bracket 1 around.
They did not. We got Devontae Wagner, Hunter Colvin, Elder Cruz in the same bracket.
I wonder if there's just teammates, and that's why they did
no
it that
swaps
way.
listed for this one.
Okay, well, let's see.
So that should
So
be.
now we go to super heavy.
We go to the super heavyweight, and then we have only one bracket for this one. So we got Elliot Kelly, top left-hand corner. We have Freddie Vosgrove making the trek all the way from Carlson Gracie
Adam
team.
Wardzinski.
Yeah, my butterfly guard guy. He's ranked number 2 from Checkmate. We have Diego Ramalo on the same side of the bracket. And we have, Felipe Trovo is on the same side of the bracket as Lucas. Actually, first match is Lucas Norant. So I honestly going to go Trovo versus Wardzinski is going to take your A side of the bracket. And then we're probably going to see Elliot Kelly and that's a tough one. I kind of want to pull for Freddie because Freddie's our guy.
Yeah.
So potentially going to see that. I would love to see Wardzinski versus Vosgrove and the two European guys in Nogi Worlds.
Yeah,
that would be a really, really cool one at super heavyweight division.
And then we go ultra heavy.
Ultra heavyweight, the people that I never want to fight because they're so giant. We have bracket of 1. We have, Victor Hugo, ranked number 2 here from Six Blades.
Nasca, I know that's in the last name, but because the whole last name isn't there, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Where you at?
You have John Hansen.
Oh, John Hansen's here.
John Hansen's there.
Oh, that'll be good.
But
John
on the
Hansen.
other side, you have Antonio Pardina and then
Nascimento.
Yeah,
Nascimento. It would be cool to see John Hansen back. He just took, he won the Grapple Fest title, looked great at ADCC. He then won UWW Worlds. So John Hansen's in pretty rare form right now.
He's on the same side as
Cyborg.
Yeah, Cyborg.
Ooh, that's a match he wants back.
Does he?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So potentially going to see John versus Cyborg. I have a bunch of footage with John I'm trying to get out, and then a bunch of interviews we did prior to ADCC out in Nebraska, so that should be awesome. I really hope that we see John Hansen versus Roberto Cyborg Abreu. That will be very, very fun, and it will make a section of that interview relevant again if they meet. So potentially we're going to see the winner. We're going to see probably Victor Hugo and John or Cyborg.
Yeah.
Is most likely we see. We've seen Victor Hugo versus Cyborg a couple of times in Nogi World Finals. I think they've met a bunch. I remember the one year they traded. They won weight, one absolute. Yeah. I always forget which one took those matches, but that should be really fun at Ultra Heavy. Let's move on to the ladies divisions, the female divisions for the adults. Moving here, black belt. Let's start with black belt roosterweight. Black belt roosterweight for the women is a division of 4. We have Jennifer Gonzaga versus Marina Cabral from Gracie Hermata. And we have Gillian Getamount and Amber Freitas. Should be a very fun roosterweight division. Moving on to the light featherweight division for the women. We have a division of... I can't do math. Jessica Crane is in this one.
6.
Yep. 6.
So you have
and my bow win as well from standard. Pans champion?
Yeah.
I think Pans champion. So again, I would look for her to repeat that here for the light featherweight division.
But that was Elizabeth Clay.
No, not at light feather.
Go back. Elizabeth. Oh no, that's
Yeah, Carreno.
okay.
Yeah,
I read that name wrong. I was like, holy
Clay
shit! I
Clay
know,
is not
I know
going
she's
to
gotten
light
little,
feather.
but I don't think she's gotten that
Not
little.
light feather little.
Yeah.
Moving on to featherweight for the women, we have Amanda Alloquin, Tubby Alloquin
Yeah.
from Alliance. We
Got
have
Jasmine Hosha.
Oh, she's a black belt now.
Yeah, and you got
Oh hell yeah, that's
Tammy,
awesome.
and you got Tammy Musameshi.
Tammy Musamechi's back. That will be great. We have Bianca Basilio as well in this bracket.
Ashley Bandel.
Yep, Ashley Bendel. This will be fun.
Bia Basilio.
Mm-hmm. This will be a really, really exciting bracket. I'm very curious how this goes. I want to see again how Jasmine looks at black belt.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we have not covered her in an IBJJF event as black belt.
No,
I don't
we have not.
think. So this will be very, very fun. I'm amped for that, and her dad's doing his division at adult. Let's move on to the lightweight division for the women. We have Claire North here. Ooh, and Margaret Cicerelli.
Yeah.
We have Erin Johnson. We have Brianna Stay-Marie as well. Nikki Sullivan and Morgan Lee Black.
And Jasmine.
This is crazy. And Jasmine Mutton. This is a crazy division.
Yeah.
This is, so far, this is one of the toughest divisions we've seen.
Yeah.
You know, not a hugely numerous division, but
No,
every
but that's
woman here could take this thing.
Yeah. Totally.
Wow. We may get Brianna St. Marie versus Margaret, which would be a really, really exciting matchup. That would be great.
But Claire North did really well. I mean, at the last.
I know, like Claire North's no slouch either.
Yeah.
Margaret has to get over her first, or
Yeah.
Claire can move on. We could see Claire versus Brianna St. Marie on that side of the bracket. That would be a phenomenal semifinals for the women's lightweight.
Yeah.
And then Nikki Sullivan gets the bye all the way into the semifinals on her side of the bracket, and so she's going to take on the winner of Morgan Black or Jamie Mutton.
Okay.
So that's a really exciting bracket. That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
Moving on to the adult middleweight division, we have Firma Montero. We have Elizabeth Clay in this division at middleweight. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And let's see, on that side of the bracket, we have Julia Maley. On the opposite side of the
Vanessa
bracket, Vanessa Griffith,
which we've watched her kind of grow up
since
in this area.
Purple.
Yeah.
I'm really paying attention to her on the show since Purple.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I've seen her have some tough matches recently.
Again, Clay is such a hard person to beat in the rule set. Again, she's up and down, but now that she has that knee bar game at black belt and there's heel hooks on the table here.
Yeah, true.
Clay
I didn't think about
is
that.
a real big force to be reckoned with in the IBJJF. Moving on to the black belt medium heavyweight division. We have, let's see, Melissa Couto.
You have Amy Campo.
And Amy Campo, current ADCC plus 60 kilogram champion. Amy Scott Campo takes on Elizabeth Mitrovic in her first round. Mitrovic's been a black belt for a couple of years. We've been covering Mitrovic since she was a purple belt on the show. So that is not an easy match to get through. But I'm still gonna go Amy Campo.
Yeah.
In Nogi, I'm not gonna bet against the ADCC champion until
and she has shown that she has the ability to beat almost anyone.
Yeah, beat Gabby Garcia.
Yeah, true.
That kind of stands out as like a crowning achievement so far, and then wins the title. Should be very, very interesting to see her as a newer black belt coming into IBJJF. Onto the heavyweight division for the women, we have a division of 4. We have Andressa Sintra. We have her versus Alfara Cliston. I can never get her last name. Clistondolu, the trials winner from Cyprus for ADCC, the plus 60 kilogram division. So no slouch. That should be a tough match for Sintra from Gracie Bada. And then we also have Talitha Silva on the other side versus Tara White.
Yeah.
So smaller division, but really, really talent heavy there. So that's good. And then onto the super heavyweight division for the women. We have a division of 4. We have Luciana Blanco, and we have Graciela de Carvalho. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Leticia Carvalho and Fernanda Mayo.
Yeah.
Mayo. So that does it for. We don't have absolute brackets for anything yet because we don't get that till registrations.
Look at Master 2.
We will do that. We will
Master
do
2.
that in a second.
Come on, Master 2 female purple light.
black, master 2.
Female, purple, light. That is mine.
You got some people in your division as well.
Okay.
Division of how many?
Should be 6.
Division of 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ranked number 2. Holy shit.
Hey, look at that.
Hey.
Be competing a
Okay.
lot. There you are.
Yeah, number 3.
Number 3.
Anyway, number 3 is not that
Awesome.
bad. Okay, well.
Fun.
Okay, what time?
You-
4:52. Yay, I get to be in the evening. That's all I wanted.
Awesome.
I'm happy with life now.
Sweet. So you're
Okay.
going to ADCC this weekend.
No.
I mean,
Nogi Worlds. Nogi
every
Worlds this weekend.
every Nogi event is now ADCC for me. You're going to ADCC. I'm doing EBI for a minute. Oh, right, ADCC. So you're doing that this weekend. I'm doing promotions tomorrow for my guys at the university club, so that'll be exciting. Got a bunch of guys going up to Blue,
Yeah.
so that's always a fun time. The belts came in the mail in the nick of time. I ordered 2 sets of belts because the first set I ordered were like, yeah, we're not going to get here December 15th.
Well, and you never know when they come. Like sometimes you order the wrong size, and then you have like the wrong size belts.
So what I did is I ordered a bunch of belts twice. So now I have a bunch of blue belts coming in because we have a bunch of people that are on the list, and I always wait till like the last minute, even though we know, like, for me, almost a year out for a lot of the folks. Like, just have a pathway for probably where they're going to get to blue, which is primarily at the club, like where we get to before folks, go off into the world.
Yeah.
For the university. And so it's not bad for me to have a stockpile of like blue belts, but the other ones are not going to make it in. So I'm very happy that I ordered a bunch of extra belts from a different provider to get them in time to do promotions.
Random fact too,
So
at the Anaheim Convention Center where Nogi Worlds is also the Game of Thrones convention.
Oh, you'll have a great time then.
So I'm going to go wander.
Oh, it's the Anaheim Convention Center?
What?
That's the same place the ADCC 2019 was at.
Yeah, the triangle pyramid.
They don't do it at the Walter Pyramid?
No, it's at Anaheim.
Right, there too.
Are they both at Anaheim?
They're both at Anaheim.
Fuck.
So the
Now,
Anaheim Convention Center
I should know this
was
shit.
where ADCC
Oh,
2019
man.
was.
I wonder which
and
one it's at.
The Walter Pyramid.
Are they right beside each other?
I have no idea. I've never seen the pyramid.
Dude,
I've never been there.
I'm so confused now. This
I've always meaning to go.
is when I learn. This is when I learned that shit, Miranda's in the wrong place. No, Anaheim Convention Center.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesus.
So it's not the pyramid.
No, because my hotel for Wednesday night is right beside the convention center, and I was like, if I just put myself in the wrong part of LA, I'm pissed.
That's where our Airbnb was. We got there. It was great.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So anyway, but
that's
yeah.
good. So you're all prepped.
Yeah.
We'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you can tell us about that. Look, follow the Grappling Rewind on Instagram if you want to find that stuff. Follow us on YouTube. Share it with your friends.
I'll try to take some pictures. Get the word out. Get some stickers.
Yeah, some stickers.
If you want some stickers, if you see me, I'll be in the shirt. I'll have some stickers. If I look angry, just know that's my normal face.
That's
just
kind of what you look like sometimes.
I look angry all the time.
Just be friendly.
Yeah.
Like, you get a sticker.
Yeah.
Like one of these.
Yeah.
Because
I have it on my phone. So if
I got 2,000 of them.
If you're not sure if it's exactly me, just look at my phone. It says it on my phone.
All right. So as always on the show, I'm your host Maine, from my co-host
Miranda.
And we have the Grappling Rewind to the mat. Whatever it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.